Hi Hires. This is, believe it or not, this is actually take 3. Take 1, didn't like some of my sketching. Take 2, well that was okay. My sketching's fine, so there's my wee bits and pieces there. However, when I went to upload it, it was kind of rotated round in the portrait mode and it kind of looked a bit naff and you'd have to kind of watch it on its side. So take 3 of how to sketch cylinders. Now, I left you last time with boxes, which is fine, but things generally are curvy. So the next step is to try and get cylinders. And cylinders are harder to represent because of the shape of them. So there's a couple of ways we can do that. I'm going to show you the technical method to do it. I'm going to show you kind of a design and manufacture kind of way to do it, sort of a little bit looser with your sketches. And then I'll leave you some video links as well for you to go away and you can go away and do some practice on this. And I'll probably pick you up again on Wednesday with this. So again, I'm not looking for rocket science. I'm not looking for perfection here. These are skill builders. Again, because some of us haven't done this for some time, we can always get better at doing this. So don't think that if it doesn't look perfect, it's not perfect first time round. It takes time to get this, and obviously when we get back to school we will have a bit more time to practice things like this and sketching objects that are physically in front of you as well. Right, so straight on to cylinders. I think the easiest way to kind of demonstrate that to start with is through the graphics method, so the technical way that we do it in GraphCom. I'm going to start off just with a box. So again, I showed you the method, kind of an isometric one, where we kind of went up the way, and these angles here, everything going back the way is parallel to each other. And again, this angle is roughly about the same angle, parallel going back the way again. And what I want to do is try and get that size there a little bit similar to that size there. So that gives me kind of a square to look at. So again, I'm kind of keeping my pencil kind of loose just now, just as I kind of build up the box. And again, I will be turning my paper in for I was in front of you. I'm kind of shuffling about my seat here. I don't want to turn my paper just now because I'm not sure on my video if it's going to work out. I'm going to turn it. I've got enough wee bits and pieces in play here round about my messy desk. Right, so there we go. There's our kind of box to start with. So I want to turn this into something which is a cylinder. Cylinders are good because thinking about glass, bottles, lamps, all this sort of stuff tend to have round things in them. What we're going to do, this face here, I'm going to split this up so it's what we call a bit like a Union Jack. So I'm going to go top to bottom here, parallel with these. I'm going to come this way, so this will be parallel to here. So again, you notice I've not popped my pencil straight down. So that gives me kind of a box to start with. There's two ways we can do this. We can go across the diagonals, or easiest way I sometimes find is just draw a little box in here. I'm just going to do one box just now. If we think about this as a clock face, I've got 12 o'clock, 3, 6 and 9, and if you want you can put the dots on. Don't have to be as big, don't have to put them on. It's just show you can understand what I'm doing. Drew my wee box here. If I go from 12 to 3 trying to work out the curve, it's kind of hard. So what I'm going to do is take this distance from here, so the centre of the box to the corner here. I'm going to take halfway between there and put a little dot on. So now I've got an extra point. And if I do the same down here, so I'll go across the diagonals and I go halfway between here and here. You notice that this distance here is longer than this distance here, and this is where the curve kind of comes in play, and it kind of helps you get them in. What I'm going to look to do now, I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points that I can use on the right hand side of this curve, and I'm going to kind of sketch in my curve. Now this one's going to be quite a short tight one round here. This one's a big long lazy curve, and again be careful here so that you can see what I'm actually doing. I'm going to sketch in the long one first, and again I've turned my paper because it's more comfortable. Again, I'm not taking the pencil down and putting it straight on and saying I'm going to go through this in one go. Visualise where it's going to go first. Lightly sketch in where the curve's going to go, and if you don't get it right, you can see there I can modify, and as I modify and go over it, you'll see my darker line appears. Mine is quite dark because it's a dark pencil I'm using. And again, this one here is kind of a short curve, so it's really along the bottom here, and it turns really quickly to come back up through here. And again, I'm just building this up a little bit at a time, trying to visualise where it goes onto this point here. So again, it's a little bit flatter down the bottom there as it comes up and round. There's half a circle. So I never draw a full circle at a time. I always draw like a quadrant each time. And as you get good at this, then hopefully you will be able to sketch in yourself without actually needing to know where the parts are. You don't have to do this to start with. This is just me having speeding things up a little bit. Try to keep your video a little bit shorter. So you see there, my curve needs to come around the outside of my box there. That's okay. That's not a bad circle to start with, first thing in the morning. Okay, now I need to give depth to my object. So with depth, this is why I've drawn the box, because I'm going to use the back end of this to keep me right. So at 12 o'clock, this line here goes back parallel to the other two edges, and that's where it stops. At 3 o'clock, it does exactly the same thing, and it stops. So I now know I need to join here to here. Before we get there though, I'm going to add in a couple of more lines here down the bottom beneath 3. This is where kind of the object disappears underneath, so I can't see underneath this part. This is like the last edge I'll see before it folds under itself. So again, this one parallel to here comes up, and it's the same at the top corner up here, parallel to the 12 o'clock line, comes along. And I'm not going to take it all the way back, I'm just going to stop them about there. See how I've not gone, and you'll see why in a wee second. Okay, I need to get from here to here. It needs to be a similar curve from here to here, and this is where we kind of use our sketching skills to try and do that. So again, this time I could work out a method from here. So if you think the distance from here to here, here to here, I could measure that, I could put it onto this dot here, I could measure it, and I could create a little dot there. So if you wanted to do that, if you were really struggling, so there we go, what, 80, it's about 86 millimeters there. You see my drawing's a wee bit off, it's about 95 there, it's a little bit further. So in theory that point there should be about here somewhere, if I was doing this technically. And I should really be going through here and through there, but you see this is a wee bit further back, this should be about here. But you can see how that would actually work round to there. What I'm going to do instead is actually just, I know that this curves round, so all we're going to do is just create this curve manually to sketch that in. So that's kind of mimicking that. Again, remember, it's not graphics, it's design. So we get away with a few things here. Okay, this point up here, what happens here? Well, we know that this one here, it would come round here and join on. So again, it still does come round, join on. So all we do is we kind of bring it round the way and join it and round onto the line here. So I might need to extend that just a little bit, so we get this round effect. And the same happens down here. This would be curving back under and joining on somewhere round about here. There we go. And hence, there we go, that's our cylinder. And when we come to actually putting features and things on there, it'll be much easier. I've got other videos which will show you how to use what we call contour lines to actually mimic the shapes of stuff to make things look rounded. We can also use a bit of rendering to help. There is no need to render in this course, but sometimes when you're conveying ideas, it's nice to actually use a little bit of rendering techniques. So we might have a little bit darker down the bottom down here working up, a little bit darker on this edge up here as it disappears. But again, I've got videos that will show you that. That's the technical way to do it. Sometimes we just need to let our hand flow. So if we are sketching something which we know is a cylinder, we know that it's going to go in this direction here. So if I was sketching something like this, I might not necessarily sketch it at that angle, because whatever I sketch here I can cut out and kind of mount onto a separate piece of paper. But I'll try and keep this similar to what we've got here just now. So I know that I'm not drawing a circle, I'm drawing what we call an ellipse. And the more I go round with my loose hand here, you see that it builds up and I kind of get the darkness of the actual object there. And I know there that then I can apply a similar techniques here, and again the back end generated in the same way. So I'm just using the curves to create this. Now the only thing there is you can see my angle here is kind of falling off a little bit, whereas this one here is these two parts here are 90 degrees to each other. If I was to draw my axis there, one of them's going across that way and the other one's kind of going across that way. That's why that's looking a bit odd. So if it helps you to start with, you can draw in an axis to start with to help position this. And it's the only time, you know that drawing technique I showed you last time, the one that goes back 45 degrees, oblique? Circles is the only one where the oblique is actually okay to use, because you're looking directly at the circle. You see there, as I build that up, bring in the curves, bring in the edges, then you can improve things. In fact, that looks a bit naff, that one, so you can see there how important the angles are. I didn't really get my angle right there because I didn't turn the paper. However, that's not what the point is. The point is you can draw it like that. Again, I did say that's not ideal, the angle. I wouldn't draw it at that angle. I would have drawn it at this angle, because my hand is much more relaxed. And I can position and be more accurate with this. So again, sketching, a lot of sketching is about keeping the hand relaxed, getting the angle right, turn the paper to the stage where you want to do it. And then once you've done that, cylinders become a little bit easier. Okay, and then you can start drawing things like this, and you can start adding things where it starts to look like different objects, just adding things together. Now, as I add things together like that, what might be worthwhile at this point is just doing a little practice of a person. Okay, now how do we draw people? People are made up of ellipses, just similar to this. So a little person we use to demonstrate things for the likes of what we call ergonomics is an ergonome. And if you can draw them and show how the person interacts with your product, you're giving much more detail to your client when you're actually doing this. So this is why I quite like this. So my ergonome, you can start two different ways. Sometimes I'll start with the upper body. So my upper body is quite long. Then I've got my upper leg, lower leg's a little bit shorter, and then I have my foot. I have my neck and my head, and then I can pop my arms on as well. So again, they're all ellipses. Upper arm, lower arm, hand, depending on where you want to position it. When it comes to putting them onto here, then I can think about how that person's interacting here. If I wanted the person to be sitting on here, then I'd probably draw their foot first, and I'd kind of work it this way and get my proportion of my person right here. So my body is more sitting in the position there. If I just want to draw it so that if someone's sitting on something, they might be sitting having their legs off. So here we go. So you can see there, my little person is now sitting on the edge. So I can demonstrate how the person uses that particular object. So that's good to be having a wee practice of that as well. Anyway, what do I want from you? I don't want anything in particular. You can try and sketch something from the house, whether it's a glass, a bottle, aftershave, you name it. You can pick something from the house. If you can't pick something from the house, all I want to see is just a page of you having a go at doing cylinders. I'll leave you a YouTube link as well, and just upload that as an image or a couple of pages worth of imagery, just to show me that you're getting the hang of this and nothing else. That's all I'm looking to do just now. Remember, skill building, skills for later on when we come to using design.